I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want what they want, inshallah, we'll happiness more, isn't it? So then please, I want to beg them. We suffer almost 10 hours we are standing because of what we want. We need change. And then the person we need, he's the one on the party we want, isn't it? So please, we want change.
Change? What kind of change?
The change of situation which we are now.
What is the situation you are in?
Situation of sufferness. Isn't it? Yeah, we are suffer. How many years? As you see, 12 years forward. I mean, almost 40-something years. I don't know what is government did for me. It's come out of this like this radio. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, yeah. I have to come.
So, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. For a long time, I haven't really done a live program. So, how are we doing? That's Maz is okay here, joining you live here on Ginger Media TV. How are we doing? Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I want to be reviewing a couple of things here. If you haven't, subscribed to this platform, please. At least for seeing my face now for the longest time, I implore you to click the like button and share this stream. Now, I want to discuss three things this evening, and many of you who have joined across our social media platforms, I do appreciate your time. Majority of you are actually joining on the YouTube platform, so please do not tune out. There is a breaking news that happened about 4 hours ago that the Emir of Kano has been sacked by the court. Now, for many people who may not know, Kano has been an area where in the last couple of days, started under Goodluck Jonathan, when Kwankwaso was the governor, and he made sure that when Sanusi falsely accused Goodluck Jonathan of embezzling billions of dollars, or rather NNPC money missing, and a point of note here, those who actually said those things are all gone deaf now. They no longer say anything, yet money keep missing as we speak. But that's on a side note. This state now, as we speak, have really seen Emir come, Emir go. This evening, a court has said that Sanusi is no longer the Emir in that state. What does that mean, people? If you look at this, the implication of this is that the dethronement, if we go by that, will mean that these, obviously that he's going to leave. But again, as of now, we do not know if he has left his palace or if he's still there. But why all these dethronement and bringing back somebody? One thing that you can see here, this is politics, pure politics. Two political camps. One, the camp of former Governor Alhaji Ganduje, that is the Gandola, the bullion van Babariga, the one who stops dollar, with what Tinubu does with bullion van, he's with, Babariga bullion van. He was the one that removed Emir Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, and brought Aminu Ado Bayero, again, who incidentally is somewhat related to, Sanusi, but today the court has removed him. Now, if we go down, we would then begin to say that people have begun to analyze that. If you take, for instance, Professor Chido in Kano made this tweet where he said that today in Kano, Abdullahi Liman, A judge of the Federal High Court has overruled long-standing Supreme Court precedent. Now, pay attention here. Overruled long-standing Supreme Court of Nigerian precedent, assumed jurisdiction he does not have to grant reliefs the party did not ask for in exercise of powers that he lacks. Anyone who does this is a rogue and not a judge. Many of us would not say anything but to laugh because the chicken is coming home to roost. Because when you begin to engage and use judiciary for for certain things, it wouldn't stop. It would continue. It would continue. Now, even when people are now are beginning to even attack uh, Sanusi, saying that he has used that same thing he uses, he criticizes, which is using children. Now, watching this, you also see
I don't know what I can say about this. It looks like somehow his music isn't working as well as it used to before, so he's just popping up on social media and saying a lot of value at this point.
So now, if you're looking at this, people are now saying that Sanusi is kind of using kids in a way. And let me read this. Kau Gaba says, "This is the main Emir Palace of Kano, where Sanusi Lamido resides. He never expected, I never expected that Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who spent many years criticizing politicians for using children of the masses as political talk, we use them today." So insinuating that the video you are watching is a case of children being used as shield when that announcement was made. Again, it's something that has to really get people to think here whether that is the case. But there is one audio here that I would want us to listen. And this is again once more from Professor Chido Carlo. I do not know how they got this recording as the the court made the pronouncement today. Just have a listen of this. Pay attention.
I think it is a very serious matter to flout and proceed to taunt the court further by seeking a remedy in a higher court while still in contempt of the same lower court. It is more serious when the act of flouting the order of the court is by the executive. I cannot imagine the body this has caused exploding the social media with virulent posting both for and against the parties and even against the court. But this avoidable situation, this avoidable state of catastrophe would have been avoided if the defendants followed the noble path of caution and fealty to the rule of law, no matter their reservation or misgivings. The fact that every legal process must follow its due course would not have tarried a while, it would have exhausted of the decision almost nearly beyond control. By complying with the order of the court would have meant that still watching law, which by the court or repeal would remain and enforceable when the legal proceedings are concluded. However, goes the path of whims and caprices, and it has led into these explosive landmines.
Now, again, the meat of this argument here by the judge is what Professor Chido Dinkalo is positing here is that the Federal High Court in Kano, which lacks jurisdiction over chieftaincy matters, effectively blames, that is the person you hear now, blames the defendant for the fact that the court assumed jurisdiction, assumed jurisdiction. It does not have in any subject matter outside the scope to issue orders that are beyond its pay grade. So in actual sense, what Professor Chido Dinkalo is stating here is that the court went beyond what the appellant was seeking for and basically made this order to sack Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi. However we look at this, there is something that actually bothers me more in terms of Kano State. Kano is one, it used to be one of those places where people really engage in serious business. But again, the poverty that is striking Nigeria right, left, and center appears to have also taken its hold in Kano. Now, in this, sorry, okay, look at this now, is to show you how Kano has become also, affected by the Nigerian, the Nigerian stuff here, basically, the things that happen to us here. In this case, day before yesterday, there was a truck moving in a built-up area in the city of Kano, and that truck stopped on a traffic light, and the people of Kano, now this is outside the emirship torso, but it brings to bear how politicians and politics messes the people's brain, and people are beginning to do things that ordinarily they shouldn't be engaging in. What then happened? The people began to loot this truck, the cow heads, when they, there are people, their job is, their trade is to buy the cow head for pepper soup, for all these beer parlor thing, and that truck was looted and vandalized. Can you see that now? These are people running with cow heads, right? You see them here? They are running with cow heads. That man has stolen two. You see the man in Keke. See, the man in Keke stole two. And you see another person. Bill, Daya, that is Bill is two, that he stole two, Daya, Bill, Uku. So, Uku is three, Bill is two. So basically confirming that he stole two. Now you can see that truck down there, the truck, just because of traffic, and that truck was invaded in Kano. Yes. Now, this is not about religion. This is not about ethnicity. This is a clear case that when two elephants fight, that the grass actually bears the ground. And in this case, everybody can see it clearly that as long as as long as these political elites fight, emirship, this, the other one, the people are the ones suffering. Hunger is hammering people. Now, as these people are looting, suddenly they have forgotten whether the owner of that cowhead is APC, whether he's Labour, whether he's PDP, is NMPP, is irrelevant. Whether he's Kwankwasia, is irrelevant. At that point they were thinking is just for their stomach, right? Now, let's review this as well. If we come back to the crisis in Kano State, to round up with it, there is a salient point made by Shehu Madi. Many of you will know, who is. He said that the implications of today's Kano Federal High Court judgment on Kano Emirship thoughts. I mean, that is an opinion, but it also gives and highlights another side to this story. It says that the court voided all actions taken after the interim order was granted, but also granted stay of proceedings until the determination of an appeal by the respondent. This means the law that sacked Emir Aminu Ado, the Emirate law of 2024, remains valid because it was assented before the interim order. See, these legal people. The ruling has voided Sanusi's enthronement because it came after the order for it being contentious against the court. Therefore, he says, the ruling has effectively created a vacuum in the Kano Emirate. This is Aminu Ado was duly deposed, but Sanusi was not duly enthroned. If this position stands, it means it will be like the Sapele Road, and no go front and no go back, because it will now mean the people of Kano are happiness more. They have voted, and obviously something like what Buhari did during his time happened in this manner.
Nigeria, from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom.
What it means is that Kano apparently has basically just gone from top to bottom. Again, his first point is the state bars all parties from taking any step to enforce the ruling until after its determination on appeal. So in essence, Sanusi remains the emir and the legal battle moves to court of appeal. So many of you who may be thinking that by this pronouncement that Sanusi would definitely would have gone, what it means that Sanusi, in as much as there is a court pronouncement this evening saying that he has been sacked, but he remains the emir until the legal battle is done. Wow. Indeed, this is the essence of politics. When you vote certain people in, you have to deal with the consequences of that.
Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay, so
I'm happy I'm voted, yeah.
tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want, what they want, inshallah, we'll happiness more, isn't it? So then please, I want to beg them, we suffer almost 10 hours we are standing because of what we want. We need change. And then the person we need, he's the one.
Obviously, people are voting, people voted that they would need, that in order for them to have change. But there are people who actually say that the whole thing is a mess, that Nigeria is now wearing pampers. In their words, I mean, they are called the music maestros. In their words, they said Nigeria kagonka. If I may translate, it means Nigeria is now old and wearing pampers. Take it the much we can take. Now we've moved away from Kano and we go into rivers. There is this speculation of declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. I laugh. I laugh in French because, come on, people, this is not what is happening in Rivers State now, is not up to, unless we have forgotten what happened during the time of Amaechi and what happened during the time of Wike. It's not even, you recall, Rivers State was that place that they used mess to fight and break people's head, you know. But now, some people are saying that they have to declare state of emergency in Rivers State. I laugh and I laugh. But let's hear the governor of Rivers State, what he has to say about that.
Don't bother about anything. Nothing.
He said, don't bother about anything. You see, somewhat, the man has begun to show some, show some balls. He's kind of come back and said, no. Some of these things we're gonna do now, we can no longer take these things. He's beginning to talk tough. I'm not saying anything, but all I'm saying is that the man appears to be talking tough now. Let's hear him out. Fubara, what do you talk about?
Don't bother about anything. Nothing is happening. In fact, how do people say it? Nothing mega.
Nothing mega. But the River State somewhat has become the state of political comics, political musical release, another form of, in Anambra State, we have some of you call him comedian pastor, but you don't want to hear that from me, that he can release and wax relics. You know him, he's a very funny human being. And he does, certain funny stuff, like the way he interacts with people.
Smoking. We need to talk about our. Which one are you smoking?
Hem.
Hem.
That is Igbo.
Okay.
The man in question, he's someone is talking about hem, and he's talking about M. And I have suggested on multiple forums that he needs an ear wax, an ear plug, because obviously he's not, he doesn't hear properly. But let's come back to River State. River State governor is telling people, ignore them. They are talking about state of emergency. They are talking about taking over River State. Just ignore them. These guys are a bunch of never do good. The moment he says that, before now, we thought that the musical band in Rivers has been disbanded. But today, we now know that River State is the headquarter of musical band. Governor, wait till you talk again. Talk about it. Yeah.
Nothing mega.
Nothing mega.
You can see how restless they've been. Since I made one small statement yesterday, people are restless. We'll continue to make them restless. They won't know where we're coming from. We'll also hit them the way we hit them that day. But this time around, so please, for those of you that are worried this morning when you saw those things flying, go and rest. Nothing is happening. Our state is really important to every one of us.
Anyway, the state governor obviously is telling the people that they shouldn't worry. Nothing is happening. Just don't worry because nothing is happening in this state. And I'm like, okay, nothing is happening in River State. The people of River State should not worry, right? There is not going to be state of emergency, but the governor did not give detail. Let me share with us someone who actually, brought meat to the matter in question and gave context for people to understand actually.
Yes, on the second issue of state of emergency, when you said that, I smiled because the only emergencies happening in Rivers State, the only likelihood of crisis, I think has been control the end of yesterday or thereabout, end of working day yesterday. All the issues that were happening at the local government that men of Nigeria by confronting the constitution of the Republic of Nigeria, and you say such felons or would be felons should consider persons who are fighting some legitimate cause. We should consider crisis to declare a state of emergency. That for me is laughable. A man sets himself law. He does not create this. There is a felon to deal with, or there is a to deal with, because we act against the law in a manner that is prescribed for the law, the criminal code. You are committing a crime. You are engaging in some form of treason. If you take oath to public office, your term is determined. And when that term ends, it has ended. If you insist on prioritizing that public office, you are committing crime. But contesting the space with legitimate people who should be there. Whatever the cause you have, the cause of action can be set at the expression of as chairman. Whatever questions you have, you can take to the court. But when the time for which you took out of office has elapsed, you have finished your cause, and it does not admit of this madness going on in Rivers State. It's a sacred space. This will be the first time I'm seeing people throw stuff against the public, against the constitution, and insists that that should be recognized as a legal issue that should get some attention and should be respected. I've heard of that and insisting that agreement should be in what country? Where does that happen? Okay. The public space is a set place. Please.
Anyway, so now, if you now, I believe these has put clarity to this, because what that means is when we begin to look at this, that you are in an office, your time, or rather your tenure elapses, then suddenly you begin to hear illogical arguments where adults will begin to argue, oh, we can't leave XYZ. I mean, you begin to ask yourself, now your papa get that office. Is it your father's office? Because some of the things we know, one hears or reads in these madness, just want to puke. Because at the end of the day, the whole point is that you are in an office, your time has elapsed. It's very simple. You vacate the office. You vacate the office. There is, in my view, if not that, we have individuals who sit somewhere, either in Abuja or elsewhere, trying to foment trouble in a state that they have previously governed, that they should have left alone. Today, we saw people basically marching on the pictures of the former governor. Sometimes when I think about these things, I think probably that's why most states in Nigeria and Africa as a whole may not necessarily make progress, because we have taken governance to its most primitive level, careless about individuals, careless about the reasons why you come into office, but all you want to do is about power, 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 grabbing power. Grabbing power actually for grabbing sake, but with nothing to show for it, and not ready to even use that power for anything meaningful. Even in this whole conversation, we have even Asari Dokubo wading in and even still lending his voice.
People must know that we don't have any other state other than Rivers State. Like when we were growing up,
there was this slogan on River State, love River State or leave her alone. Don't run her down. So you love River State. You should not run her down. Only one man can be governor of River State at a time. We will not have two governors. And the people of River State are bigger than Mujahid Okubasari. River State is bigger than any individual. No individual can take River State people for a ride and pocket us. It's not possible. Local government tenure has expired today. They should quietly go home. If they want to seek re-election in accordance with the Constitution, they should go and seek re-election. But there is no tenure elongation in the Constitution. Their position is banned, and that is not expired. Let them not cause unnecessary
unnecessary tension. You know, in as much as in most cases I do not agree with Asari Dokubo, but again, his position here is actually commonsensical. Okay, whether by caretaker, by election, your tenure has elapsed. I honestly, black people sometimes I don't even understand us, to be honest with us. Your tenure elapsed, vacate office, it becomes an issue. I believe a life was lost yesterday. For what, Okwano, for Christ's sake? And some people now who have some political connections in Abuja are now beginning to clamor that the River State should, a state of emergency should be declared in Rivers. Are you people mad? Are you mad? Declare a state of emergency for what? What manner of nonsense is that? Anyway, and we'll leave River State. We'll come to the last part of this segment before we'll call it a day. And I'll say once more, many of you who are watching, please, 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 if you haven't subscribed to this platform, just click the like button and subscribe to this. When you subscribe and like this stream, it gives the YouTube algorithm basically shows this stream to other people to watch. Now, the last part of this is many of you have watched and seen the video by Eedris Abud Karim. Actually, I had reached out to him to have a one-on-one with him, to join my Friday hangout tomorrow. But for this week, that's not possible. I wish to get him to join me here. But tomorrow, I will be having a guest here. If you recall who that is, that's the former Minister of Sports, that is in the person of Solomon Dalung. Solomon Dalung will be joining me tomorrow here, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, 7 p.m. You have a conversation. That conversation is going to dwell, in fact, it's a whole no bad conversation. We're going to deal on every single issue. How he served Buhari, how he felt Buhari felt Nigerians, every single thing you can imagine, what he thinks of Emilokan, what there is current crisis bedeviling the Plateau state, his own state. Dive into that. There is crisis now that individuals are destroying public properties in that state. We will look into everything that you can think of. We will be discussing that with him. So keep it a date to join me tomorrow and have that conversation with him. Now let's come back to these Eedris here. Eedris released a song. Sadly, I won't be playing that song, because of monetization issues. But I believe many of you have watched that song. Now, the Emilokan gang, that is the Tinubu gang, they have attacked him. And the question you ask yourself, in all these things he said in that video, did he lie? That dollar was selling so much, was it a lie? That we borrowed so much, was it a lie? But again, thank God this morning, the Arise TV crew waded into this and they had this thing to say.
Nigerian rapper Eedris Abdul Karim has released a new song titled Emilokan, aimed squarely at prominent figures, President Bola Tinubu, former President Buhari, and Pastor. The song, which has already generated reactions on social media, shines a light on the dire struggles faced by Nigerians, including rampant hunger and economic hardship. Abdul Karim boldly reworks the familiar political slogan, Emilokan to Ebilokan, reflecting the cries of hungry Nigerians. Let's take a look.
Emilokan, don't turn Emilokan. Yorubas are screaming, Hausas are crying, Igbo brothers are saying, don't blame them. Igbos have been discriminated. Even food don't turn to gold in Nigeria. Kidnapping, lucrative business in Nigeria. Imagine saying your grandchildren where they kidnap. By now, your soldiers for don't scatter Nigeria. How come a man won't get money for ransom when they kidnap him, his wife and his children? After everything,
Okay, so that song was just released recently. In case you don't know who Eedris Abdul Karim is, he's a Nigerian hip-hop artist. He has been around for decades. He actually released another song targeted at the Nigerian government called Nigeria Gajaga, Everything Scatter. 2004.
And that Nigerian Jaga Jaga actually got Baba Obasanjo angry. Baba Obasanjo actually said, "Now your papa Jaga Jaga." You know, one thing is, see, Nigerians are going through a lot. That's why many of us will miss people like the greatest of all time, the great legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti, the man who sang with every evil that has happened. So they even say, "Waiting, I go sing again." No, you know, he sang what's it called? Unknown Soldier, Yellow Fever. I mean, what song did he not sing? Dede Mabiako was one of the promising guys that I thought would have taken over and where he stopped, but Dede Mabiako somewhat disappeared. Again, if you go back and play African China, food no day, mama, da 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 da. If you go back and play African China, a song he sang in the early 2000s, that song still remains relevant today because we have thieving politicians. If you go back and listen to Fela today, the song he sang about Dioju Elegba, Foju Elegba, motor they come from east, motor they come from west, a policeman day for center, na confusion be that oh. Confusion now waiting, confusion now wow. So sometimes the last time I was in Lagos, as if it was a spiritual thing, under the Ojo Elegba Bridge, I stood by the side. There was this guy, blasting music, Pasuma Wonder, boom, 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 boom. They say my head is no correcto, boom, 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 boom. So when I sat there, when I stood there, I was reflecting on Fela's music, a music that was over 40 years. Yet, there I was, listening to that music. What he said 40 years ago was playing in my very before, if I may use and borrow the words of Chief Zeboda Okorigonwo last 430, was playing before me. That is a man you must respect so much, a great philosopher. The way Chinua Achebe is in the league of literally icon, that is the way Fela, who created his own gene, his own music style. In fact, he's nothing but a genius. Here we have, again, this is not cucumber, because most of the time, what you hear, make me squared, cucumber, cucumber, oh, this, that. I mean, this generation, sometimes I don't know. Ashawo, Awusha, things that are irrelevant. But again, this is a young man who now use the plight you and I undergo every day to sing a song. And those that are in government do nothing day and night just to make sure that they bring him down.
Exactly. So
we cannot allow that.
First time he's, singing about.
No, but in all reality, yes, people have qualms with Eedris. You remember his debacle with versus Kiamo, and Kiamo was saying that, oh, it was because he came to ask him for something he didn't get, because he did a remix of that song recently before he now released this one.
Yes.
But I've always asked, and I put something up on my Twitter, please point out why Eedris song.
Exactly. Bayo Ononuga, the commander-in-chief of the ethnic jingoist, basically is on Twitter calling Eedris all manner of name, rascal, irresponsible. Some of them are actually started saying, oh, a man given a second chance because of the kidney transplant that he underwent, and he's now living well again. Instead of using his life for better things, come on, what better thing is it than to speak truth to
about Emilokan as we speak today? Point out one lie. You can't. Whatever your problems with Eedris is directly act. President Tinubu took money part of the supplementary budget last year to refurbish presidential villa and all of that. He was vice president. When they were refurbishing that one, they did not remember that they were going to take $1 billion to complete the home of the VP. Today he said he wants to buy jets. That one is there.
Yeah, remember, part of the reason why this gang of I don't even know what to call them, gang of liars, part of the reason why they worked against Goodluck Jonathan, that Nigeria had 11 aircraft fleet. Under Buhari, not a single aircraft fleet was sold, even when Buhari promised during the campaign that he was going to sell the aircraft in order to start Nigerian Airways. Yet, the same man finished his time, not a single aircraft was done. The same Nigerian Airways that he promised Nigerians, they used it to scam Nigerians and moved millions of dollars out of Nigeria. Yet, the man whom he used, a man from his state, Hadi Sirika, is still a man walking free today. Jesus Christ.
Fudge. I hear they want to borrow another amount of money now. They borrowed 2.something billion kidney. At the same time, we're not able to address the outcomes of food insecurity, poverty, and hunger.
Correct.
I was talking to him, and the friend was lamenting to me that how is it possible that 2 million naira is about 800,000 CFA? So, in the first 1 year, we will score him very low. And I'm not going to even score him alone. I'm going to score collectively. This was over 500 billion. It was projected that if Nigeria kept on growing 70% mark, half of that GDP to 253 Nigerian, the APC has destroyed the economy of this country. It's been bad for economy. So please, I give you a challenge. Point out one lie out of Eedris Abdulkarim's song. Let's have a debate.
Well, my favorite line there is, this one don't pass Jagaja.
Yes, now.
We say, when he did that Jaga scatter in 2004, I think President Obasanjo was so incensed that he responded to him personally. And now he says, no, it's not just Jaga, it's worse than Jaga. But, within the theory, it's called satirical music, sung as satire, sung as social protest, and it's a very realistic portraiture of the concerns of Nigerians. Well, he has exercised his freedom to express himself musically. Exactly. I hope they will allow him to also enjoy the benefits of the freedom. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, if the APC, if they don't like, the Emilokan, they have their own gang, so they can actually go and sing their own. But again, when a set of people are so bereft of ideas, what do you expect them to do? They can only resort to
Can I just say that it is sad that he's not the first person to use the medium of music to speak on issues. Very popular, we know Fela Nicola Kuti, and his activism was through his music. We know the popular song, Food, those songs, the sad part of it all is that those songs still remain relevant today. Exactly. Not a lot. In fact, when they sang those songs, and it is now. And so it is quite sad. And so when you hear songs like this, yet but does it really achieve the aim? Do our political class feel embarrassed by these songs? Does it matter to them? That's a big question. They release these songs, but unfortunately, I haven't seen to what extent it has helped to create social consciousness or reform. It's very sad.
You're 100% correct, Ayo. So let's take our final story. Now, on Tuesday, the Asian city of Dubai was...
Anyway, so people, that's the much I can take this evening. Again, as I said before, set your clock. Join me tomorrow on my Friday hangout. Tomorrow, I have an interesting guest who is going to be joining me tomorrow. That is, a guest, a former Minister of Youth and Sports, in the person of Barrister Solomon Dalung. We are going to be talking about a lot of things. Recall that he was one of those people that Buhari dropped when he reshuffled government. Obviously, he is not happy that incident occurred, and he has not made it clear. He has not hidden the fact that Buhari failed Nigerians even when he served, and still respect him. Me, I do not respect him one bit, because I believe that he wasted Nigerians' time. Now, I will conclude with this. Recall that in 2015, when the election result was announced, a lot of Nigerians criticized the people of the Southeast for rejecting Buhari. Recall that Buhari had come with Chief Edwin Umezoke and Dr. Chuba Okadibo. On 2 occasions, Ndibo rejected him. He came the 3rd time with a pastor, Pastor Tunde Bakari. Ndibo also rejected him. He came the 4th time. For a reason, it's not a personal hatred, but because a people who engages in trade knows which is fake and which is real. They rejected him. Nigerians took offense, especially the gang of the APC. They called Ndibo names that they do not understand how politics is played. Fast forward, 2019, another election came. Ndibo actually thought to themselves, I decided that Nigerians have gone mad, or that they are all become total idiots, that they could not see the damage this man is doing to the economy. The election came again. They rejected him even more than they did in 2015. Yet, so many people called Ndibo names that they are haters of the North. Many of us reminded them that when President Yaradua, may his soul rest in peace, continue to in peace, came into office, Ndibo gave him overwhelming support against their own son, late Chief Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, who led the Nigerian Biafran War, or the Nigerian Nigerian invasion of the Biafran in 1967. Then a colonel, Ndibo, voted against their own son. Fast forward 8 years later, now that all is said and done, those who called Ndibo names, I believe it's time to send an apology to say, wow, what is it that you guys saw that we didn't? You saw it coming, you warned us, but we called you names. We attacked you. We called you all manner of names. 8 years later, Nigeria is in a shambles. Fast forward again, come 2023. Again, you keep, see, the funny thing is that Nigerians keep saying that Ndi Igbo do not know how to play politics. But hey, what do they know? The only region with 5 states, they don't know how to play politics, but they have 3 political parties: Labour, APGA, sorry, 4 political parties: Labour, APGA, PDP, and APC. Unlike every other region, they are very diverse. Come that election, another candidate, they looked and saw. I'm not going to say that they are the only one that see tomorrow, but it appears that is the case. And they saw through the shenanigans and said, no. Nigerians are calling them names. 1 year after, many are beginning to retrace their steps to say, wow, it appears there is a thing or two that these people that we don't know. Again, it is time. We need to forget the government, pretend that the government does not exist. I watch videos where people kind of, show, oh, we don't have tomato, pepper, yam, whatever. My single and candid advice is, please, before it is too late, I know many people can no longer go to the farm. There is a report yesterday saying that the jihad have just gone through Benin and coming into Nigeria. That is independent report, independent UK newspaper published that yesterday. It means in the next 3 to 6 months, we are going to get into more dire situation in terms of food insecurity. Therefore, I think that it's now time that Nigerians should begin to, if you live in a flat, if you live in a bungalow, please, it is time that we should begin to utilize sacks to do what we can. Plant tomatoes and peppers, because these things are getting out of hand and there is no hope in the horizon. It appears the government has failed and is failing and is incapable of rescuing the mess. We must not fold our arms and die in silence. Let's do what we can in our little back gardens, trying to plant in sacks. If all of us do that, maybe we might have something to eat before we all die. On that note, I say thank you very much for joining me. Join me once more tomorrow for my Friday hangout with Solomon Dalung. The time is 7 p.m. Nigeria, UK. Thank you very much. I'm signing out. Peace out. My name remains Mazin Ezoke. And this is Njanja Media TV. Please subscribe, share, and do not forget to like this platform.